Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, and I'm here in familiar territory. EKU is down pretty close, and I'll have to get to the story on that. But before I do, Corey, Jeremy, you guys want to introduce yourself, your company, a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I'm Jeremy Martin. Me and Corey, we've been doing this for a while now. We're with Cabin Connections. You go ahead, Corey.
Well, it's going to be a fun podcast.
Oh, it's
I
good.
promise.
It's good.
Short and sweet.
Well, my name is Corey Nolf, and actually we are with Cabin Connections. We've been basically in the business for quite a few years, about at least myself about 5 years now, and I think Jeremy's maybe a little bit longer than that, about 7. And so we basically partnered up here about a year ago together, full time, and we actually a little over about 2 years almost now.
Okay.
And we basically got Cabin Connections started and just trying to grow a nice company here.
Man, very nice. So we're in London, Kentucky. So the reason I say that's sort of familiar territory to me is because when I was a younger guy, I had to come down to Richmond. Worked for the state of Kentucky's Department of Juvenile Justice and went to school at EKU for about 6 weeks to work in their facilities. And it was a great time. I remember EKU as being Richmond was a nice little town, and enjoyed it, and didn't get a chance to come back until I was working like in rent to own and just down here shopping around, and so many good stories from it. But let's talk about Cabin Connections a little bit. Corey, how'd you get started in sheds? One of the most interesting things for a lot of listeners is they always talk about like people's stories on the podcast, like how they got started in this. How does this happen? You fall into this because most people don't say, "Hey, I want to manufacture sheds or sell sheds or haul sheds or something."
Well, we definitely fell into it. It was by accident. I pretty much grew up in construction all my life up in Pennsylvania. We moved down here to Kentucky in about 2008 when the housing market sort of took a tank up there, and I had some friends of ours had bought a coal company here in Kentucky, and they asked me if I'd be their director of purchasing, and I agreed to it. We wanted a little change, and so we moved the family down and had a nice run with them, and then coal sort of took a little bit of a tank, and so we decided, where my wife's a real estate agent, we decided sort of to get back into the housing industry some. We did a lot of flip homes. We started building constructions again, opened my construction company back up here, and it went well. I had no complaints. We did well, and then a friend of mine sort of got me into the pod business, the storage pods, and so we trademarked a company and started that under a mobile box company, and it was the same equipment to haul those as what you are in sheds, and so once you buy a $75,000 rig, you want to put it to work.
That's right.
and I just happened to find an ad online. Jeremy had posted an ad. He was selling sheds. And so I said, I'm going to call this guy up and to see if he ever needs anybody to haul them for him. And I guess that's sort of where it went there. We started hauling some sheds for him, and little to, I started selling sheds. And then before we knew it, we had about 3 different stores opened up at that time.
Nice.
And then we added a 4th store as well.
Okay. Very cool. So you guys kind of connected on that. And what a lot of people might recognize even your son's name, like on the Shed Hauler page and things like that. Cole, who wins all the awards, basically, if I understand correctly, at any Shed Hauler event he goes to. That we just threw the gauntlet down now. So
yeah, I got you. Yeah. Don't swell his ego anymore.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, truck always looks amazing, and I got a chance to sit in Paducah with you guys a little while back and talk, and that was a lot of fun. And obviously, you guys are active on like the Facebook pages, social media pages, and things like that. So it's really cool to get to meet folks that you talk to regularly. And Jeremy, we've gotten to hang out quite a bit here lately. It seems like we're in the same place every time we go somewhere. Tell me a little bit about your story, man. I know you've got like a really good testimony yourself, but why sheds? How do you end up in sheds?
Well,
man?
it was actually going to be a vacation for me, and I was working at this other company, and I decided to go back for my other company I worked at for several years. But before I went back, I said, "Hey, I'm going to stop by. We're going to sell sheds for a couple months. I'm going to just take me a break." And I literally was planning on just literally going in, hanging out, having some fun, and going home. I didn't plan on staying in it. I planned on going back to where I come from. And I got in it, and, 2 or 3 weeks in, 25 sheds later, I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this for real? And here we are. Went from supposed to do it for 2 months, and here we are 7 years later and still clicking.
And
loving it. Loving every day.
And putting up some big numbers, man. I know that I know that you do well in your sales, and I mean, you've talked about different things and ideas and what works and what don't work, and just the stories along the way. It's a pretty odd space to be in, isn't it? Selling sheds, and to think that you can make a great living doing that is a surprise to a lot of people. And even some selling sheds currently, might not realize the potential that exists, but it's there. It's there if you just want to go get it. So Corey, what's your thoughts on you get into it, now you're in full time, you've got, a little bit of manufacturing, a little bit of selling, a little bit of hauling experience, a little bit of everything in there. I mean, construction in your own right, even before you came here. What has been sort of your experience with the shed industry? What has it done for you?
Well, actually, I guess you have your ups and downs always. I have really enjoyed the industry. It's a little bit different from what I've experienced in the past with just different businesses. With sort of where we're at right now with the manufacturing side, the hauling side or the transportation, and then even the selling sort of it gives every other job that I've had in the past sort of this trifecta right now. It gives us that opportunity to be able to be involved in all of those at once, and it's been nice. And what's been a nice blessing for me is basically we meet new friends along the way, but also too our family. My family, we started out as a family business, and we're still there. My son works for us as our sales rep or dealer rep, and my daughter works here, or my daughter-in-law works in the office as our accounts manager, and my wife does our accounts as well. And so my dad works for us
nice.
Too. So it's still been nice to have a family business, and Jeremy can probably say the same thing. He's got quite a few of his family here working too. And so it has been nice to experience that together and to be able to build a company together that you can be proud of. Something to build a nice reputation and continue with that.
Oh, for sure. So tell me about Cabin Connections, Jeremy, man. What is it? What does it mean for the brand? You know what I mean? For a customer comes in, what do you want that customer walking away feeling, man? That
they've been taken care of, that we're just not looking to get a down payment from them, or we're not just, high pressure, buy now, but we're going, help you first. I tell everybody I'm not a salesman. I think you heard me say that out there in Oklahoma. I'm not a salesman. I just help people to solve their problem.
Yep. I may disagree with that.
I try to tell all your salesmen, you're not really selling, you're helping.
Introducing the Real Steel Portable Barn Door Press. You can use it to assemble your doors using truss connector plates to create strong, straight doors. The truss plates are kept in place by using our precision spring plate system. The same system is used on our truss press. Standard size truss plates are 2x4. Other options are available. Air cylinders are used to push the door together before the hydraulic cylinders push the plates into the door. This makes it easy to place your pieces of wood into the machine and assure a nice square door. 2 pins on either side of each of the vertical braces allow an easy and precise fit every time. There are 2 sets of 3 press stations on one rail. This allows for 3 stations to move in and out while remaining perfectly in line with each other. The stations also slide back and forth on each rail for different lengths of doors. You can make door widths ranging in size from 33 inches to 48 inches with a maximum length door of 76 inches. We can accommodate nearly all of your needs when it comes to different sizes. The hydraulic power unit has a 10-gallon steel hydraulic fluid tank with a 3,000 PSI 2-stage pump. The 2-stage hydraulic pump makes for a 4 to 5 second cycle time. An in-tank filter and a return line filter helps keep your hydraulic fluid clean and long-lasting. The electronic control panel allows you to operate all the air and hydraulic controls from a safe distance. A 2-handed safety system is used to provide a safe, efficient operating method. The unit is powered by a 3-phase 7.5 horsepower motor, complete with controls. A single-phase motor is optional as well. Contact us at realsteel.com or call Darren at 570-713-0665. Real Steel, production machines for the wood industries.
Yeah.
You're solving a problem.
Yeah.
And, once they leave, I like for them to leave us knowing that we took care of them. Customer service is highly up first, foremost first. So we'll take care of the customer before we take care of anything else. And that loyalty, integrity, everything, I'd rather do that than the money side of it any day of the week.
Well, and you do some cool things, man. You do some funny things. I followed you on Facebook even long before I met you. You kind of have this personality that just kind of draws people in. Do you do these different things, man? Live videos, fun stuff. You have like this alter ego character called Self that you do. That's just, it's fun. And how many people are having fun at their job today? But you're always having fun. I know that about you.
The man once said, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And one thing when it comes to the internet and all that is attention.
Yeah.
Whoever gets the most attention wins. And if you're selling out there and you're afraid of attention, you've missed the column, because in this day and time, self loves attention. So that's just self. So get out there and get attention if you're out there selling.
That's great, man. I love that you have fun. I watched your videos even long before I got a chance to meet you, so I felt like I knew you even before then. But it's officially nice to meet you and hang out with you, and just excited about where you guys are going. How does Cabin Connections come together, Corey? I mean, you've got some partners, some really awesome people that you work with. What's it look like?
Well, it actually has been really nice to be able to partner with quite a few different individuals. Obviously, Jeremy and I partnered up, and then we were able to have the opportunity to partner up with River Country Rentals and the Burnett family. And so that's been nice as well, because, tying that aspect to it. So now we also have, the rent to own, we have, manufacturing, sales, all of that together under one. And so that it's been nice for us to be able to, I guess, draw from every aspect of the business. You got experience on that end, you got experience on, manufacturing side with Country Corner Barns is who would be able to partner up with them as far as our builders. And so there's been years of experience that I really feel is a benefit for us as building a strong company. And that's the key.
Keeping that like I hear a lot of people talk about the vertical integration of shed companies, and I think a lot of people don't realize just how difficult of a task that is. And because it's been said before, be said now, and probably several times more, you can make a good living hauling sheds. You can make a good living selling sheds, and you can make a good living building sheds. And you can own an RTO company or whatever it is, but to own all of them and integrate them and kind of keep everything in-house and try to grow that out. You guys hit it pretty hard starting out. You're 2 years old. You've got several dealer locations.
Yeah, I think
already.
We're up to about 10, 11 locations at the time. So, so it has been very beneficial. And and one thing I think that is nice when you look at having a variety of basically people to help you. One of the biggest things is being humble. Learning from them, and that's one thing that I've always tried to do. Whatever you do in life, learn from it. You could be out shoveling a ditch or digging a ditch. Learn from it. What can you learn? And that's what I think is nice, having a variety of different individuals partnering together.
I used to always have this little saying I would say in humor. I used to tell people I'm the most humble person I know. So there's none out there more humble than I am. Me and Self are probably, we're the most humble.
Self's pretty humble.
I'll tell you what,
He's pretty humble.
He may be more humble than me. He may almost be there, He may. What is you hear the name London? I want to touch on this because I think it's fair to touch on this. It's something that I got early on. There's kind of like this unwritten rule or unwritten comments about different cities and stuff like that, and especially when you're doing business in those. And London has gotten kind of a bad rap at times.
100%.
To be honest with you, it's just calling a spade a spade. One thing that you guys told me about is how you just aim to bring integrity with the name Cabin Connections to the industry for representing Eastern Kentucky and London, and just how paramount that is to you guys that you have companies that, ask about you and things like that and what you're doing. And you want to be able to show your who you are and bring integrity to that name and to the Eastern Kentucky area.
One thing about it is you're right, London, Eastern Kentucky got a bad rap, got a bad name. And I would like to say, hey, they are good people down here. So right. With us, I think we got a good company. We're producing some of the cleanest contracts. So, Eastern Kentucky wasn't the problem. I don't believe it was. So that's what I like to see Cabin Connections. So, hey, you can be in Eastern Kentucky. They are good people down there. You can get good contracts.
Yep.
It's not the people the problem.
Yeah.
So I like to turn that name around.
I remember Dave Miller put me on to. There's only about 1,000 Dave Millers, but Dave Miller put me onto a book called Hillbilly Elegy. If you guys haven't read this, you should really check this out. Hillbilly Elegy was written by J.D. Vance, and he grew up, I want to say, around Jackson, maybe, or Manchester. I don't remember exactly, but, and he kind of talked about the hills and the hollers and the poor community because of the coal, you know what I mean? And the coal would get pulled out, and then that's, it's what you knew, and there just wasn't a whole lot of industry and things like that. But he talked about moving into Ohio, into Middleton, and he goes to the Marines. He ends up becoming I think an investment, maybe a lawyer or an investment advisor of some sort, and does really well now. They made a Hollywood movie after him, right? Ron Howard and Glenn Close and the whole thing. He really come from that Eastern Kentucky area, and there's really something magnificent about being here because the terrain here is absolutely beautiful. It's windy. It's windy. You don't want to take an RV on it, let me tell you that.
You don't want to haul a shed and deliver it either.
But I love it here. I actually traced my great-great-grandfather back to Vanceburg and Flemingsburg area. So I have some roots here as well in Middle Tennessee and Middle Kentucky and things like that. But, yeah, man, I think it's really great because I think at some point there has to be like a quote-unquote healing maybe, so to speak, or whatever for a community or an event or something like that. And I'm really proud of you guys for like telling me that, and I wanted to get that on the air that's something you guys are striving to do in Eastern Kentucky, and I applaud you.
We appreciate that. I think when we look at between obviously with rent to own, you have repos,
sure.
and that's always an issue everywhere.
Yeah. So
there's got to be a really delicate balance between making sure that you do clean deals at the same time, but also to giving that customer the dignity. Obviously when somebody walks in, you don't want to basically prejudge them already. Mm-hmm. But yet again, still watching out for the company as well with the rent to owns. If somebody, we stay pretty much up on who has maybe repoed more.
Looking to grow your shed business this year? Say goodbye to the struggle of day-to-day management. Shed Suite has you covered. With Shed Suite, you'll get access to a full e-commerce suite for your shed business. That includes customizable dealer websites, real-time inventory management, streamlined quote and order flow, and robust analytics and reporting. What's more, Shed Suite was designed specifically for shed manufacturers and dealers by experienced shed builders just like you. With low-cost merchant accounts and integrated payments, Shed Suite makes selling sheds a total breeze. Ready to get started? Our team is excited to help you grow your shed business through 2023 and beyond. If you're looking to scale up and automate your shed business, book a demo now at shedsuite.com.
Okay, so we're back on, and a lot of people probably are never going to notice this in the cut, or maybe they will, but we stopped for just a minute and had a couple minor emergencies. Nothing too bad.
No.
Thank goodness. But we stopped, and you guys got to get a picture. Might as well put that on the air. You guys had a moment to. Police actually came in, and for once they weren't looking for me. Yeah. Thank goodness. So we got out of that. But they came in to take a picture, like kind of like their Chamber of Commerce type thing or whatever it is that came in to take a picture with you guys. And I think it's really cool that moment happened, and maybe we should have kept it rolling. But tell the story about like.
Well, they just they're actually a charity fishing event this weekend for one of the local policemen that got killed. A drunk driver had hit him here a few months ago, and so just a local community hero. And so we just felt that we wanted to donate to that cause. Just because they do a lot for the community, and we're there to support as well.
Man, it's really cool. I love for something like that to happen in real time, in real moment. whenever you're doing an interview
Didn't
or
really
something like
expect
that.
to be on the air,
hey, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. It worked out pretty good. You guys got a nice little picture in front of the Cabin Connections logo up here over my shoulder. So for those of you that are viewing on YouTube, and if you're not, be sure to check it out on YouTube and subscribe, please. Always got to get that in, right, Jeremy?
Of course, subscribe.
You got to get those plugs in. Just kind of getting back to where we were, wrapping up the thoughts of where I think we were. It's kind of talking about the integrity to the community, and there again, that was kind of my goal, was to get that in and just say thank you, appreciate you guys for.
And we were, like Jeremy was mentioning before, I think it's for us, our goal is not just to sell a shed, but we want to sell an experience. And that's sort of been our motto. We want the customers to repeat. We want them to come back to us, feel comfortable with us, and trust us within the community. And I think that's important. That's where we're really trying to build that up amidst the backlash of some other companies that's been around.
Yeah, for sure. What do you like? What would you want the customer to see that they don't get to see about Cabin Connections, that you enjoy so much about working with the public and just doing what you do?
That's a good question.
You talked about the family aspect of it, and I think to myself, like, surely you want someone to walk away.
Well, and we do. We enjoy when, especially we do a lot of, log cabins and home models and stuff. And so when a customer comes in and, they can, even get a cabin or a shed and it fits in their yard and it's what they want. I guess our little logo is connecting them with their dreams. And so, it's sort of weird to think about a shed as a dream. But
isn't it crazy to think about, but it's the truth.
Like
that's what a lot of people are saving up to get. That's how they want to live in that. And they've got a plan.
Yeah. And we do full designs. So we'll come in, a customer, they'll have everything laid out, what they want to do. And they put a lot of thought into that. And they're very specific. And so when they can visualize that, or you bring that that to life for them, it is fun. It's nice to see them and, appreciate what they've got. And, I guess that's another part of the aspect of the company you don't think about.
One thing about you saying the shed and the home experience, I think us as a whole, as an industry, we do this every day for our jobs. It's what we do. I know you watch real estate. I did real estate years ago. And, when you go buy a new home, that first new home experience, nobody can take that away from you. And the way we do this every day, we forget that these people are buying this shed, a lot of them to live in. And what I want us to do, I want to get back to treat these customers just like it is their first-time home buyers. Give them that experience, treat them like, hey, this is your home, congratulations. But as a whole, I think we forget it's just another shed. Yeah. Well, I just sold another shed. You've actually sold
another commission, right?
You got another commission check. You sold someone a home, and I want to. We've been teaching our salesmen, don't just look at it as selling a shed, but think about what all these people. They don't get to buy something new every day.
Right.
They don't get. A lot of the people don't get to go buy a new car every day like we're selling these sheds. That's one thing. A lot of people look at a rent-to-own. Not the best deal in the world, but it's put a lot of people in a new home that normally wouldn't get it.
Yeah, there's always going to be some back and forth with rent-to-own, and I always like to have those conversations and sometimes take it to task a little bit, because iron sharpens iron, right? It makes us a little stronger whenever we talk about difficult conversations. But rent-to-own offers them something that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So there's someone there to fill that void, someone there to fill that gap, and that can't be denied. A lot
of people are like, hey, they ain't supposed to be living in it. Well, let's just all get real. We know they are. I mean, they are.
Yeah, there's.
So let's just get truthful.
I put
they are.
a poll out recently on the Shed Sales Professional page. I mean, you was talking about that and asked, what's the top 5 reasons why people are using a storage shed? And storage, obviously, traditional storage, lawnmower, motorcycle, things like that come in. But a home, tiny home or something like that was number 2, for which salespeople are seeing it's people wanting to use a shed. So you guys are doing these really cool cabins, nice big cabins. Do you guys see like a lot of that and a move more towards that and the tiny home community, tiny home movements?
I think that's why our per copy as a whole across the industry, I think if you talk to all the shed companies, our per copy, has went from, $45, $50, $5,500 a copy to $85, $95. And I know some stores, we got one store that's averaging $11,000 a copy. And I think that's the reason why is because our industry standard is we are selling a lot of homes.
Yeah. Home offices, do you guys see a lot of that?
We do, actually. We've finished out quite a few of those. Actually, I just closed a deal on one this morning, actually.
No kidding.
So yeah, and I think people are liking that. It gives them a nice option, to they'll put it in their backyard, especially through COVID. A lot of people were working at home, and so to get away from the kids, get away from all the pressures inside the house, they hey, let's put something in the backyard that I can put my office in.
Hello, shed sellers. Let's take a moment to discuss the shed customer and meeting their expectations. I remember growing up in the neighborhood where a certain percentage of the houses had well-manicured lawns and well-manicured homes. These were the type of individuals who felt it was important to purchase a well-constructed home or vehicle, or maybe equipment to help maintain the quality of the item. As shed manufacturers, we seek to provide a well-built quality shed. We want the customer to feel satisfied that their hard-earned money has been well spent on a product that will last. At LuxGuard, we believe adding high-quality rubber flooring to your line of sheds makes sense to the customer and adds value the customer can appreciate. With each year, sheds are becoming more complex. The customizations we are seeing are virtually endless. LuxGuard not only gives a complimentary aesthetic appearance for their shed, but also protects the floor from spills and keeps cleanup simple. Offer your customer the customer service they seek with LuxGuard. At LuxGuard, we are committed to delivering exceptional customer service and innovative products to help our customers achieve their goals. We strive to meet the evolving needs of the customers. To speak with one of our ready-to-serve customer product specialists, simply call 336-468-4311. To see our product and view an installation video, just visit our website at luxguard.com. LuxGuard, the floor that lasts a lifetime.
The shed industry is sort of changing because the world changes, so you change with it in many ways. Post-COVID, I've heard of so many jobs that are working from home now. There's, not always, but I mean, even I visited New York recently, and New York City is a different animal altogether. But I think they said like 30% of the storefronts still weren't inhabited. They hadn't, came back to that. So many people working from home, and that might be different in New York or Long Island or something like that. But I think you're seeing that around the whole country in general. I mean, sheds are evolving. You're able to capture a couple different sides of the market. You can capture excess. You can capture minimalism. You guys sell all different types of sheds, but, are you guys doing metal? Are you doing wood? You're doing cabins? I see play sets like in your cottages. Like you guys have like a lot of features and benefits, honestly.
We try to appeal and have a product that our customers are looking for, they want, or something that we can get. Obviously, there's always something different out there. Everybody has a different product, but I think probably one of the things that we focus in on too a lot is our cabin side. We do sell a lot of the log cabin styles, but we still LP metal. They're very prominent for our sheds, but some of our bigger stuff, even with their chinking in our buildings. And one nice thing is we have an Amish company that provide us with our railing for our log cabins. A lot of people don't offer the hone rails and the cedar rails, and so that's a neat feature that somebody's looking at a cabin. Hey, I could live in that, or I could buy this and convert it into a home. And so it is nice to be able to have those different options to to appeal to the customer's needs.
I like the storefront.
Yeah.
We've got like a little shed that I would use for my office, but kids moved out, so now it's just kind of sitting out there by the pool. I love this. This has been really cool sitting out there.
It's neat.
You know, it just, I don't know, it's very appealing. And I'm sorry for those of you that are on YouTube that hadn't got a chance to see it, but you can go to cabinconnections.com and guarantee you it's on there.
.net.
.net. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
.net.
yeah.
Good catch.
So.
What do you hope to accomplish, with it? Expand into a much larger, program? I mean, you're already doing so much in a short amount of time. It's obvious to me that the two of you's like knowledge blending together and partnering with your guys at RCR, it's making for what looks like a really, really influential market in this area that has potential to grow. So.
We hope so. I mean, it's a work in progress like any business. And obviously, even our business itself is fairly new. I mean, even though we've been in the industry for a while and have had many different businesses and been fairly successful in those businesses, this is still, new. And so I guess with that, we definitely would like to build, but we want to try to build smart, and that's, I think it's the biggest issue is knowing your limitations now and knowing how to reach your goals in the future. And I think that's the biggest thing as far as to be successful, and to obviously you got to look to the future for something.
Jeremy, what's the future of sales look like, buddy? I know how passionate you are about the sales process. Me and you couldn't have spent more time talking about it than anybody. How important is it to the industry, and what's it look like for the future?
I mean, I really believe it's going to do. I still believe the internet. I think the internet's going to keep being more of a bigger of the picture, more of a play of it. I've got my own theories. We talked about it, and I'm not going to go there. And I'll say that boy's lost his mind. So I ain't going to be the laughing stock of my little theories. So I'm going to keep them myself. But I do believe there'll be some molds get broken in the future. Yeah. I believe as the industry grows, more of the outsiders come in, with bigger visions and a lot less conservative. And I think we'll see a lot of the traditional ways of doing things. I think you'll be broken, and there'll be sky's the limit. I think we're still in a real traditional way of selling, and I think there's a lot bigger ways of selling out there. Yeah. That we are going to be going forward, and I'm hoping between me and Corey and RCR, we're going to push them limits.
There you go.
And I got full intentions of it. So
you think location is the most important thing anymore, or do you think having an online presence, a social presence, and those things make the most sense?
I think that'll be a destination, if that makes sense. When someone, I believe in location. That's why we go off some of the biggest locations out there, because I go after them four-way intersections that Walgreens wants. I'll go after them, because I'm not afraid of that rent if it's the right location. We're not afraid of $4,000 a month rent. We're not. But
if you got the sales, it justifies the ends, justifies the means, right?
100%. But I believe we got to be a destination. When that customer gets up in the morning, they're going to say, hey, I want to go to that lot in London. I want to go lot that in Liverpool. That's where the online presence comes into play. Yeah. The online creates that destination. Yeah. You got to be a destination, not just a location.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I think that we're definitely in that mixture of time where we're trying to figure that out. And the one thing that I've noticed that's happened a little bit this year, since it seems like we're in a bit of a lull. Some companies are just business models set for growth. I mean, and where they are, it's just they're seeing growth. But I think the industry as a whole sort of, we've gotten away from COVID money. We've gotten away from what's so easy to sell and inventory flying off the shelves and things like that. And we're having to go back to more of a traditional way of, selling and advertising and marketing. And, do you guys see that here too?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you just like you said, COVID was easy. Those were some of the best months. And, even though some of the prices were a little bit higher, people were still buying. Yeah. So I think reality sort of setting in a little bit. Yeah. we've been very fortunate though, but I think it's having the right business plan and the right marketing plan in order to reach the customer. Like Jeremy said, you have to have a nice complementation of both. As far as good marketing online, but also good store presence where people know where to come to and what to expect when they get there. I think that's a big part of the customers being aware of what's out there.
One thing I like to see the industry eventually get to is a lot of people, this would be a good discussion to have down the road, is I think us as the industry as a whole, we're making some of the best profits as any industry out there. I think we're making profits like Hardee's and these other buildings. I like to see more of a brick and mortar stores, more of stability for our customers. I feel like when that customer drives in that parking lot and sees a brick and mortar, it builds a lot more credibility for our industry. Hey, this guy ain't no fly-by-nighter. He ain't going to up and move tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
I really, that's one thing as a whole. I'd like, we're in the future I'd love to see more solid brick and mortar stores. Make it look, man, we're legit. Shed business is legit. We're the real deal, and let's make it look like, hey, we are the real deal out there. We're just as good as any Walmart out there. I think that's where I like to see the future go.
I like your thought on that. When you pull up and see a brick and mortar store, it certainly does change. It seems as though it changes the dynamic a little bit. It seems like you're there to stay. It seems like you're not ready to just get in there and see what happens and get out or that kind of thing. What about inventory wise? Do you think maybe superstores with a good online presence matter? Or do you think that
that's a big subject?
That's Jeremy's big word right there. Superstores.
Do you think that smaller lots can? This is what I remember, so I'll give you this. I'll segue into it this way. I remember one thing that we wanted to do in sales was you wanted to turn your inventory. We had a particular amount of times that we wanted to turn it, and if you turned that inventory, you could get more inventory. It was very, I don't know. It was very dependent on you. On how many buildings that you had, but there was a bit of accountability, especially in a consignment model, to try and like create people who had an urgency to want to sell, to learn more, because a lot of times they might be distracted with their primary business if they were a consignment lot.
It's like I was in a discussion literally just the other day. Because I do have some out there ideals, and I told someone the other day, I said, well, let's go back 6 years from now, and we say, I'm going to go put in a gas station with 125 pumps, and the building's going to be big as Kroger's. You'd said Buc-ee's was crazy. It'd never work. Now Buc-ee's is the gas station to be.
Yeah,
I mean they're
killing it, ain't they?
They're killing it.
Yeah,
and I think
our shed haulers might not like them. They're not letting them in those semis, but I mean they're killing it. They really are doing a good job.
It's the same principle. I think some of the same theories I have. I'd probably get laughed out of the industry. But if time tarries and Corey don't leave me, I think we're gonna go down them roads here in a while.
Well, I mean, you can definitely see a difference if you have a lot that has, $700,000 in inventory sitting there, or $800,000 in inventory. They're going to sell. It's going to draw people in because they see it sitting there and they know, hey, and unfortunately, the society that we live in, nobody wants to wait for anything. They want immediate gratification. And so when they see those buildings there, hey, I can get this right now. I can get it next week. I don't have to wait 2 months down the road for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what we're seeing as well. So even some of our smaller stores right now are struggling with sales because not that we can't get them inventory, which is always a struggle sometimes, but even for room, they don't have the room to hold more inventory, and so they can't really draw that many people in. And I think that's where some of our bigger stores, like our London store or Somerset store, we have a lot of room there.
Yeah.
And it does draw people, even up in Ohio, up our Pleasant View store. So it's out there.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story. When I first got in the industry, I guess we'd walk and looking at lots. And everybody that out there knows me, most of the stores we've run, we kept, anywhere from 85 to 120 buildings on the lot. And when I first started getting in the industry, me and this gentleman was looking at lots, and I'm like, It might hold 90. And they're like, dude, what? What are you talking about? I'm serious, the heart attack. Huh? It might hold 90. I'm not thinking, boys, we're going to have 150 sheds out here, because I was still, man, we're ready to go. 5 salesmen, let's rock and roll. And, absolutely. That was what, 4 years ago when that happened. But it took over time, but I really believe that the industry as a whole, you're seeing more and more stores with 60, 70, 80 sheds on it, especially here in eastern Kentucky. It's a common thing. We got out away from eastern Kentucky, me and my little small mind, and I started seeing all these little stores and 15 sheds. I'm like, man, back at home, it ain't nothing, no big deal to have 80 units sitting there back at home. Not just us, but all of our competitors. Yeah. They're having 60, 70, 90. There's one guy within, driving distance of us, they probably got 200 on their lot.
Wow.
So it's common out here, and I think as people looks at eastern Kentucky, I think you're going to see a lot more of the superstores take place. I do.
I think if you've got a good online presence and a nice big store with plenty of inventory, like you said, a good brick and mortar front office, and, you draw the appeal in. You start adding accessories to your shed lot too. I mean, almost every shed lot anymore is doing metal, steel tube metal and carports and wide span stuff and post frame. There's a lot of guys that'll build pole barn kits, and some of these manufacturers are getting into, roll forming, so they develop their own roofs or develop their own metal for their sheds, and then maybe they're selling some metal roofing on the side. So there's like a play off of sheds that helps absorb the cost in their shed, but then play sets and chicken coops.
Experience. You're selling the experience. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like, back up at our London store is on a Saturday, they'll come in and just, they're not there to buy. They're looking, just walking around looking. And that's the experience I want to go for across the board. You got nothing to do, come walk around, hang out, drive through our lot, take a look at what we got.
I think a lot of those superstores with good online presence, they have the opportunity to take a big market share. Yeah. Because people will just come from a circumference, you know what I mean? They'll come from 50 miles away. They'll know, hey, who's got sheds? Oh, I don't know, that place over in London, there's probably 200 buildings out there. Surely we can find one we like.
Oh, yeah.
Prime example, I say it, when you go buy a car, think about what car lots do you usually go to. Typical car lot I go to, they probably got 500 cars to look at. Don Franklin, where I used to buy most of my stuff, and they got plenty to look at. I think Corey's the same way. Us as a society, we say the small guy. But if we look at a society, we've built Walmarts. We've built Kmart's. We've built Kroger's. We didn't stay with a mom and pop grocery store. And I think as a society, there's a reason for that. And I think it'd work the same way in the shed industry. Us as a society, we like going to the bigger stores.
Yeah, and there's so much competitive advantage, Corey, to all of those. If you're the Walmart, you've got the size, the price, right? Like you can leverage things like that. And whenever you're small and you're the mom and pop, you can leverage your customer service and spending time with the customer, and you know what I mean, making sure to get it right as opposed to more cookie cutter types. They all come with their advantage. But I think growth is inevitable. I think in most cases you want to grow, even if it's not in competition with your competition, but in competition with yourself and what happened the year before. And we want to do better because we want to do better as a company. And where does that meet the industry is always interesting. There's big box stores out here selling sheds, and then there's guys that's just putting out 100 sheds a year and perfectly content.
That's what I think. Actually, Lowe's, they contacted us about building sheds for them and letting them sell them, and we looked at it. It might have been a good opportunity, but I think once you look at it a little bit further, it didn't fit our marketing. It's and I know there's probably some companies out there that do it, but yet I think they expect so much of you for certain things, and you lose that. Yeah. You lose the customer somewhere in there. And then you lose control as well. And so I guess, I think that's just the part of it is if you get too big, you do lose some control as well. You can't, like you said, you can't get with your customer. You can't connect with them. And I think that's an important aspect. I mean, there's got to be a delicate balance there, between the two. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely though, growth wise, you have to have a goal as far as, being competitive with yourself. Where are you this year? Where do I want to be next year?
There's a very successful businessman told me one time, if you don't grow with the business you have, you will go backwards. And it made, because I kept watching him. He just kept growing and growing and growing, and we're growing and we're growing and we're growing, and we're like, do we sit back and be content? And I asked him the same question, and I was like, where do you sit back and be content? He says, a catch-22. If I sit back and be content, I start losing the business I have. He goes, you've got to grow with it. You can't stay still. You'll go backwards, you'll go forward, but you'll never stay in the same spot. And over the years, I've noticed that, and there's a lot of people, some people may disagree with that, but over the years on the different companies I've seen, man, there's some big truth to that.
Yeah.
Hello, shed builders. Are you looking for a strong, easy-to-install shelf bracket with a clean, modern look? If you said yes, then say hello to Rapid Shelves. Rapid Shelves brackets only require a few screws for a fast and easy installation process. Weight limits for Rapid Shelves are an incredible 250 pounds. Plus, Rapid Shelves comes with a lifetime warranty. And we can usually have orders delivered to our customers in 3 to 5 days. If you are tired of sending your customers somewhere else to help declutter their shed, then call my friends at Rapid Shelves at 717-336-4984 or visit online at rapidshelves.com.
Well, who knows? Maybe the next time I'm rounding around through London, you guys are going to have 20, 30, or 40, or who knows how many, man. It sounds like you got very ambitious goals. I'm sure if there's dealers looking to, connect, you guys will take a phone call, discovery call, and be glad to talk to them if they're, they feel like you line up with their vision for what they're wanting. So
absolutely,
who knows? If they do, give you guys a call over here, and I'm sure you'll welcome that. I think that's great, man. I'm for everybody in this industry, man. I really want to see everybody win, but I know not everybody always will. I know there's some that'll take a bigger bite than others because of their way they're structured and just how hungry they are. Les Brown always says you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. You got to go after it. You got to make it happen. But I'm thankful for each and every company that interviews, and wish them the best. Let's do a couple rapid fire questions. I don't do this too often. Let's do a couple rapid fire questions. What would be? We probably addressed this, but I'm just trying to think. I'm off the cuff here. What would be most important to you? Super sales lot or mega online presence?
Super sales lot.
Okay.
20 salesmen, one store.
Okay. All right. So there we go.
Yep.
For everybody that argues online's the way to go. Let's see. What do you think? A+, I've heard this said before, so I like this. A+ salesperson at a C- location, or an A+ location with a C- salesperson. Who wins?
The A+ salesman.
I think so too.
We've got one right now, and you can't say.
No, you can take
the location that she's at is got to be one of the worst that there is. But she's our top salesman.
Killing it.
Yeah,
she's
killing it.
She's killing it.
Yeah.
And that's a prime. It's the salesmen that will make the location, because some of the places I started out at, you normally wouldn't be there. And my hometown, you normally wouldn't have a shed store there. But because of the numbers we was putting up, there's 3 shed stores, and the population ain't but 4,000 people in the whole town. I mean, it's kind of funny.
What is most important, features and benefits of the shed, or price?
I think it depends on community. In this area, price.
Yeah.
I have to say price.
Yeah.
Some communities you're opposite of that. But yeah,
I can see a regional approach.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, anytime we all get together at any kind of event, we all talk about pricing to some extent. Like, what are you seeing over there? Especially if they're far enough away not to be your competition. That's the beauty of kind of, shed haulers, shed dealers, shed salespeople being able to come together, I think, is to have discussion and learn.
And I think with us, we try to diversify a little bit as far as, we do have that economy line price, but we also, build a better shed, too, with a higher quality or a home style model. That helps, give the customer, if they want price, hey, we got price.
Yeah.
If you want the best quality, we got that, too.
And I think that also comes down to your salesman.
Yeah.
You get the right salesman, and their price ain't going to stop them from selling. They will hit their numbers every time. No matter what they will hit their numbers. But your C- salesman, they will sell off a price every time.
Yeah.
And that is 90% of your salesmen out there is your C- salesmen.
What sells most, 10 by 16 or 16 by 40?
16 by 40 right now. I mean, it depends on the store, but we a lot of bigger buildings right now.
Yeah.
Our per cop is 9,500.
Yeah. Yeah, big buildings are moving. Yeah. Man, I get down there to like Texas, and they've got like some just ginormous buildings down there. It's crazy to think what you can do. 18 by 60s, and of course double wides are a thing now, right? They've been around for a while, and
we're playing with them. And yeah.
Well, that's good, man.
From a hauler perspective, I don't like them, but from a sales perspective,
especially if
they are
a heavy blocking day, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, guys. I think that's good. One of my favorite podcasters says leaders are readers. Are you guys fans of any books in particular?
Jeremy's our reader, man.
Yeah.
Raven fans, I love it on customer service. I think it's one of the best customer service books out there, Raven fans. Don't make a customer, make a Raven fan. And then Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Best book of all time.
Man, I read it when I was...
That's my opinion. I love that book.
When I was 16, I was working at a grocery store, and I had a guy who was going into insurance sales give me that book, and it changed everything for, like, my view on business. I at the time, I was thinking about going into real estate, going to the military, use my GI Bill to get a realtor's license and things like that, and he gave me that book, and he said, I promise you, this will change your life and the way you look at things. I've probably read that book 10 times.
I've read it a bunch. It's just unbelievable. One author I've came across, and I'm not getting into politics, but it's a heck of a book, different books, is Donald Trump, the Trump 101 book on just straight up business.
Yeah.
Man, he's some good author or a ghostwriter one, but I know there's some. I know he had some good. I've read a couple books of his that is phenomenal about
the art
business.
of the deal was, it was a very good book. I mean, he's got a certain uniqueness about him. I watched a video last night of him in a presidential campaign in a debate or whatever, and I was like, he's so tricky with the way that he answers certain things. It's just, I don't know. He's got kind of I'm not into getting into politics either. I've almost
some of the stuff he's overcame.
Yeah.
In his business dealings, in some of his big purchases, they told him he was crazy, and he just kept doing it, and he kept succeeding.
It's interesting. There's no doubt about it. He's an interesting fellow to watch. Love him or hate him. It's kind of like people talked about Howard Stern when he was coming up, highly controversial, and they were like, the ratings are through the roof for the people who love him, and they was like, why? They said they don't know what he's going to say next on the radio, and they said the ratings are double that for the people who don't like him. And they said, why? They said, because they don't know what he's going to say next on the radio.
It's just like, I don't know if you follow fishing or not, Matt Robertson. Same thing. He's doing the same thing right now in the fishing world. You don't know what the boy's going to say. You don't know what he's going to do. I am a big fan of Matt Robinson.
We have one of those in the shed industry too here. So
Jeremy's somewhat notorious, I would say, and you've got to have a lot of laughter that happens in this office.
We do.
Yeah, I know that you bring a certain amount of joy. I've hung around you at a couple different events and things like that, and man, I love hearing your thoughts on sales and things like that. And I would tell you to keep creating. Don't stop. Guys, appreciate the opportunity just to be here with you in London.
Thank you for coming today.
I really, really, really am impressed with your facility, the people, and really just your overall demeanor and what you guys are looking to accomplish. I sense professionalism in what you guys are trying to bring to the table. And I get to visit a lot of shed folks in this industry, and I can tell you that what you're doing is awesome, and I applaud you for it. So
We appreciate that.
Appreciate you having us.
thanks for listening, man. I'll catch you guys soon.
All right.
All right,
Sounds
catch
good.
you. See ya.